At a family dinner this past weekend. It included myself, my fiancé, my sister, her boyfriend, and our parents. My sister got divorced maybe a year ago and has a boyfriend. I really like him, he's great. And they are so great together. I'm happy that she is finally happy. I've known my fiancé for 10 years and have been together for 6 or 7 years. Things are great with us, too. At dinner, we were talking about old memories and laughing. Generally having a good time all around. We eventually talked about how much dating has changed over the years, and now the majority of people meet online or through an app. I should mention here that my sister met her boyfriend on a dating app. Nothing wrong with that, it is 2019. Then my sister brought up my ex because I had met my ex online, but before all these apps were status quo, 12 plus years ago. Back then, I got so much crap from my family about how I met my ex. They all were less than nice to me and to him, and it's something I've never forgotten. That relationship lasted 2.5 years, but eventually, we broke up but for other reasons. When I look back, I do have the what the hell was I thinking reaction that everyone has when they think about their exes, but I also have a bit of sadness and anger towards my family about how I was treated. So obviously, I don't like going back there. My sister just kept talking about my ex and how unsafe meeting people online was back then, and I'm so lucky he didn't end up being a love-making predator or serial killer. She and my parents were talking about my ex and how horrible he was while myself, my fiancé, and her boyfriend just stayed quiet. Honestly, my ex was a nice guy, just not for me, so I took offense to what was being said as I was also being painted as being foolish. I'm not proud of what I did, but I loudly said something like this must be the portion of the family dinner where we all talk about our past relationships. Does anyone else want to talk about their exes? Dad, how about your ex-wife from when you got married at 20? Mom, anyone? Boyfriend and fiancé, do you want to talk about any of your exes? Sister, how about we talk about your ex-husband or ex-boyfriend? I heard ex-husband is finally selling the house. It was dead quiet for what seemed like an eternity until I was told I was wildly inappropriate. I mentioned that I thought it was wildly inappropriate at all to bring up anyone's ex while everyone's significant other is sitting right there. There was an argument. Fiancé and I excused ourselves and we went home. Got some texts afterwards about how I ruined dinner and I should apologize, but I don't think I'm the one who should be apologizing. I see this as a you can serve it but not take it situation, so I don't feel I owe anyone an apology. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot, don't dish out what you can't take. People act like dating online was 90% murderers before 2005. Their cautionary tale makes no sense. You can tell they have discussed this before without you there and are all high and mighty about it like they tried to warn you. But you just dated a nice guy online and their basis for their argument is unfounded. They were just embarrassing you and deserved that swift punch to the gut. You gave them an opportunity to stop. I don't know what they expected. Everyone's the idiot here. Your family was obviously wrong for talking about your ex in front of everyone. You messed as well though. I imagine you reacted much more strongly than you should have because of the lingering feelings you have had about your family's judgment of your ex. Not being able to control those feelings caused you to go overboard, most obviously by calling out your fiancé and sister's boyfriend, but perhaps in your tone as well. You messed up, your family messed up. You should be able to have a civilized discussion and move past this. Everyone's the idiot here. I'd say they shouldn't have brought up this topic if they knew that it made you uncomfortable. On the other hand, it seems like you let your resentment build during dinner and had a bit of an outburst. Now on the other hand, for them to not recognize that it obviously was a soft spot and then blame you for ruining dinner is a bit inconsiderate. Your family should work on communication. If something is bothering you, bring it up. But not in a malicious way. They may not know something is digging at you the wrong way. Speak the truth from the heart. We have a lake house and my bedroom is upstairs, as well as my aunt's who are directly across from mine. Since I've been away at college, my aunt has decided to let all of the stray cats in the house, which has now totaled up to 15 cats living there. Now I have asthma, which makes the idea of 15 cats in one house pretty unbearable for me. I have to use my inhaler multiple times throughout the day and night because these cats are constantly sleeping in my room. Herself and my grandma refuse to get rid of any of the cats because they are attached to all of them, so I now have to sleep in the guest bedroom since no cats are allowed in there. I'm getting tired of this guest bedroom considering my actual room is a lot bigger, and so I started closing my door so the cats won't get in there and can get around to cleaning it of all the cat hair. My mom has washed the sheets and vacuumed in there 3 times now because my aunt keeps opening my bedroom door and letting the cats in. I finally caught her in the act and said, "Why do you keep opening my bedroom door?" She said it's because closed doors give her anxiety. She has never once mentioned this before, and there are several other doors in the house that are closed constantly. I responded and said, "Will I close it so the cats don't get in there?" And she said, "You don't even sleep in there." I then said, "Yeah, because you keep letting the cats into my room, I want the door closed." And she said again, "Well, you don't sleep in there." I literally yelled, "I am trying to explain to you why I don't sleep in there. You're the reason I can't sleep in there." And she just kept saying the same thing over and over, so I just walked away. My grandma is getting annoyed too, and so she told me I should close my door and lock it so she can't open it no matter what. And to be honest, I think her closed door anxiety is fake and just a reason for her to let the cats in my room because she feels bad for them. Now I know this will start a huge fight between her and me, but at this point, I don't care. It's not her house, it's my grandparents'. So, would I be the idiot if I purposefully lock my bedroom door so she can't open it even though it supposedly gives her anxiety? Not the idiot. Lock the door, your grandma who owns the house gave you permission. Your aunt sounds like she's personally offended you don't like her cats, ignoring your allergies. Wouldn't be surprised if she was one of the weirdos who thinks people make up their allergies to prove her point. She may also be a control freak who just doesn't like people doing things differently than she would. Either way, she's being a busybody and getting in the way of your health. Lock the door and let her freak out. Her issues, not yours. Not the idiot. Even if closed doors give her anxiety, the open door is risking your life. Asthma is no joke. If you're using your rescue inhaler that often, please talk to your doctor about preventative medications, antihistamines, Montelukast sodium, Flovent, and consider getting a pulse oximeter. If you still feel bad after using your rescue inhaler, check your oxygen levels. If they get too low, you need to go to the emergency room. Asthma can go from mild to bad and bad to dying very quickly. Not the idiot. Your aunt is just an idiot, but you are puzzling. Their question is, literally, would it be wrong to do something that the owner of the house specifically suggested I do? Something that would preserve my health and save my mother from cleaning repeatedly, and which there is no good reason not to do, aside from obviously contrived claims of anxiety. How is this even a question? I would understand you're being conflicted about this if you were a child, but you are a college student, so likely at least 18. Are you just looking for validation? When my parents divorced, I, 5, moved in with grandparents. I would visit parents until I came home from seeing my dad with a mark across my face. My granddad told both my parents that he would be raising me from that point onwards. When I was 19, he was diagnosed with Alzheimer's. I became his carer whilst U1, Uncle 1, and 2 rarely visited. In November, he was admitted to hospital. I spent from 6 to 11 with him every day. During his hospital stay, U1 would show up once a week and spend the time FaceTiming his girlfriend. U2, Uncle 2, would visit fortnightly for 10 minutes. On Christmas Eve, he took a turn for the worse, and I rang all members of the family to let them know. Christmas morning was full of family member he hadn't seen regularly or at all in years. I skipped the offers of Christmas dinner and stayed with him until he passed. U1 and U2 were keen to be involved with legal aspects. It was decided that I would pay everything, and U1 and U2 would refund me when it was totaled up. They had the most disposable income and savings, and it would be returned from the estate. So I paid funeral costs, outstanding balances for bills and credit cards, etc., which wiped all my savings and some essential money. In total, this was close to 28k pounds. U1 and U2 had been going to the house daily and thrown away all his belongings unless they deemed them valuable, in which case they sold and kept them. U1 and U2 have also removed the kitchen, carpets, and most of the bathroom, saying they would pay for the place to be redecorated. At this point, we went to his solicitors to make sure we hadn't missed anything. Surprise to everyone, my granddad had made a new will a year prior to being diagnosed with Alzheimer's, with myself as the sole beneficiary, and a note with his reasoning being that all of his children are middle-aged, own their own homes, and have adult children. Once finding out that they don't benefit from the will, they have left the house in a complete state of disrepair, refused to refund me any money unless I agree to completely disclaim the will and any inheritance, and use the older will with his 5 children being the beneficiaries. This has left me in the position of not being able to pay my rent and living off rice. The house is unsellable and I have no funds to repair it and further solicitors' bills to pay. I don't care too about the money I'll get at the end of it. I'm more upset with how they've handled it and that they stripped myself and others of retaining any sentimental objects. Am I the idiot for continuing with my granddad's wishes despite causing a large rift in my family? Not the idiot. Your uncles are vile, greedy people. Make sure you get proper legal advice and protect yourself from them. Your grandfather made a clear and reasonable decision to leave his money to the person that actually cared for him. Ask your solicitor what can be done to enforce your uncle's promises to pay for the costs they had agreed. Whatever you do, do not give them a cent of money from the will. Legal costs can be paid on a contingency basis after the estate has been disbursed to you if need be. Not the idiot. God damn it, reading this made me so mad. Your uncles are clearly horrible, greedy, atrocious people, and it never fails to depress me how people are capable of acting when it comes to wills and probate. This is probably cold comfort, but you are clearly a good person, and your grandfather was very lucky to have you in his difficult final days. I will add my voice to the others urging you to seek legal advice. Please don't give in to their demands. Not the idiot. You earned it. You were granted it as a reward for being there for him. You also needed all that. Get back what your grandfather granted you and use the law to destroy all those who stand in your way. They ceased being your family the moment they decided to harm you and cannibalize on your grandfather's legacy by disrespecting his last will. Do not care about schisms in the family. Your parents did not value you, your uncles did not value him. They deserve nothing. Me and my girlfriend are moderately overweight. We have been noticing that we were getting fatter still, so I pushed us to try and lose some weight. We now go on walks every day, we cut the sugar, and generally try to eat better and in reasonable quantities. This is being tougher on her because she really enjoys eating until she's full. I'm mainly the one trying to keep us on track, and very often I have to call her out when she's sliding back into our old eating habits. So this last weekend we went to a wedding together as guests. We were sitting next to each other, together with family members from both our families, all in the same table. Every table had its own food, so everyone could just serve themselves. So what happened next was I had to watch as my girlfriend filled her plate up with all kinds of delicious food. I kinda gave her a look like that, but she just shrugged it off, as if to say, yeah, I know, but we're at a wedding. I was slightly annoyed with her behavior, but sort of forgot about it and tried to just enjoy everyone's companies. Sometime after that, when she was finished, she was out for more. She asked me to pass her this big plate of shrimp rice so that she could try some of that. That really struck me, but I didn't want to argue right there and then, so what I did was get the Sereno rice and proceed to fill her plate up until it was literally overflowing a little bit. She just kind of stared at it, then got up and went outside alone. Everyone was staring at me at this point, and I thought it was better I just went outside too to talk to her. She told me she was humiliated and that I stepped out of line and that I came off as a controlling jerk. So, am I the idiot for taking a stand against her completely disregard for our agreed upon diet? You're the idiot. You deliberately and passive-aggressively humiliated her in front of everyone, and she's absolutely right to be hurt and angry. It's nice that you're both trying to get healthy and lose weight together, but at the end of the day you're both adults entitled to make your own choices, and it's also possible to eat healthily and want to have a cheat day and indulge every now and then. It's your job to encourage and support her, not shame her. You don't own her and you don't get to control her or her diet. I don't care if you think your intentions are for her own good. You're the idiot. Also, don't kid yourself. You aren't an idiot for taking a stand. You're an idiot for intentionally humiliating your girlfriend in front of friends and family at someone else's wedding because she decided to have a cheat day. Major piece of crap territory. Just so you know, my now wife and I each dropped nearly a third of our body weight to get healthier and look better. We definitely wouldn't have achieved that by cutting each other down. That's what you did. You're the idiot. Firstly, it does not affect your diet at all if your girlfriend decides that a wedding is an occasion where she will allow herself to indulge. Secondly, this is not an issue to ever publicly take a stand on. If she is okay with you calling her out when you are alone, that's one thing, but you basically made a theatrical production, in front of friends and family, of your poor opinion of her eating habits. This is neither kind nor productive nor anything at all but a total idiot move. I would not be surprised if the next weight your girlfriend lost was all of yours. I, 33, am married to a guy with a 9-year-old son whom he shares custody with his ex, who is also married. We get him primarily on weekends and a few odd days during the week here and there, but my husband is definitely in his life. His ex's husband has been in my stepson's life since he was about 1 and had started calling him daddy after they had another child together. He was just over 3 when his baby brother was born. I had just started dating my husband at the time, and it had always bothered me that he called this other guy daddy as well as my husband. He would tell people he had 2 dads. I told his mother that I thought it was wrong for him to call his stepdad daddy and should be calling him by his name, and she got defensive and said no one forces her son to call him that. It was just something he started doing on his own accord after they had another baby. I told her she needs to enforce on him that is not his daddy and it's rude to be calling him such. She told me her son could make that choice when he wants to and to mind my own business. I asked her how she would feel if he started calling me mommy, and she said she wouldn't care, fat liar, and put out this crap, saying him calling me mom doesn't take away from her being his mom as well. Fast forward a few years and my stepson is now 9 and still refers to him as dad, as well as my husband, and he does it when we are at school events and just confuses everyone and still bothers me and my husband. He's just not as vocal about it as I am. I decided to have a conversation with my stepson about no longer calling his stepdad dad and why it was wrong and hurtful to his real father. He got upset and said he liked having 2 dads, but agreed not to do it anymore. After we dropped him back off with his mom, my husband gets a phone call from her, screaming at him for the conversation I had with him, telling him it was petty of me to do so and that their son was upset. He told me I probably shouldn't have done that, but I only did what should have been a long time ago. That other man is not his dad, just like I am not his mom, and my husband's ex should have been more thoughtful of my husband's feelings on the matter when it started years ago. You're the idiot, as is your husband. I can understand your husband being upset, but the child is the person who is right here. He feels he has 2 dads and is happy calling them both dad. This is common with step-parents. Nobody is being shafted by this, however much you think they are. You and your husband have just done something really hurtful to your son who has been jointly raised by his second dad from a very young age and absolutely thinks of him as dad. This is just tragic. I feel so bad for the kid. You're the idiot. Seriously. You do not talk to a kid about this type of stuff. In fact, you don't talk. It's ironic that I have to point out that you are not his mother and does not get a say. If it bothers your husband, he should have talked about it when the kid was small and started with it. Also, how lucky is this kid? He's not forced to call his stepfather dad, but he does because that's how he feels. He's lucky enough to have 3 loving parents. Who cares if confuses other people? They can ask if they want. Either way, none of it's your business. You're the idiot. You're probably jealous because he doesn't call you mom, to be honest. You lost a freaking plot, lady. You way overstepped your boundaries. Your husband, if it bothered him, should have been the one to talk to the mother, and even then, stepson is clearly comfortable calling both of his father figures dad. Why is that such an issue for you? You need to realize that this is solely a you problem. I don't know what kind of insecurities you have, but you are putting them all on a child, and for that you screw so much.